Good morning, everybody. I'm here to put on a IXIL Hyperlow L2X can onto my 2015 CB1000R. Get that lousy stock muffler off of there. If I get interrupted, I apologize. I have 11 dogs and they get in the way. This is what comes out of the box. You got the can on the left, the clamp, a cover plate, which is black. There's 2 bolts, a nut, and a funky washer. The instructions are worthless. They tell you to take the old one off and put the new one on. So I'm going to try and work through this, and maybe somebody else can be helped by it. If it's a little choppy, I apologize. I have never done this before. So the first thing we need to do is get the old muffler off. And I see a bolt there, right there. I see another bolt right under the brake pedal there. And then, of course, if you look in closely, you can see the clamp which attaches the can to the cat, and we'll have to get that clamp off. So let me get to work here, and I apologize for the lousy audio. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the back side or the underside of the clamp for the old pipe, the old muffler. So we're going to take this off, and it's a 12 millimeter socket, and there's no nut on the back. It's welded, so you don't need to secure it on the other side. Just 12 millimeter socket, and we're going to take this sucker off here, if I can figure out which way is off, because it's upside down. It's coming loose. So that clamp is loose, but I'm going to try and take it all the way off. Okay, so I got the old clamp loose, okay? I'm going to take this off, loosen this completely. And then we'll take the 2 bolts off on the front. Okay, so I got the clamp bolt off here that you can see. And then now I'm going to reposition the camera so we can take the bolts off on the front. Okay, these 2 bolts on the front are also 12 millimeters. I'm going to use a drive on this, get a little leverage. So we'll take this back one off first here. This does have a nut on the back, and I guess you want to keep all these gaskets. There's a gasket, or a washer, excuse me, with a nut here, so I'm going to show you that. And I'm going to set that aside for the back side. I don't know if I need it or not, but I'm going to set it aside. And on the front, there's also a washer in between. There's 2 washers. One washer right behind the bolt, and then there's another washer right behind the frame on the muffler pipe. Screw this out. I think the pipe comes with its own bolt and nut for the back side, but I think it's probably a good idea to use the washers that they provide. Again, here's the old bolt with a washer. I'll set that aside. And then there is a washer in here, right where I'm pointing, between the muffler assembly and the bike. So we'll take that out and see if we need to use that on the new one. Meanwhile, the other bolt that I'm looking at is right up under here, under the rear brake pedal. We'll take that out too. And that should allow us to slip the pipe off, but we'll wait and see.
Right at the center of folk music is making stuff up. It's not just learning traditional music the way somebody who played it 50 or 100 years ago. It's that and changing. And that's what gave rise to the folk music.
Okay.
Folk rock.
Again, there's a washer here behind the bolt. I'll set that aside. We might want to use it. And then I'm just going to slide the pipe off. Okay, the whole thing comes off here. As you can see, there's a rubber. This is the old one, and there's a washer stuck on the back here. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to set this aside. Try not to ding it up too bad. We might want to use it again someday. Okay, so as you can see, I've slipped the IXIL L2X or LX2, whatever it is, on the cat. And when I first did that, I kind of freaked out because this hole right here doesn't line up with the pipe. So after freaking out for a little bit, I realized that all I had to do is really just kind of push down on the whole thing, lower the cat and the pipes, and then get it to line up. Also, a point I want to show you is that on the back here, there's a rubber gasket that goes inside the frame. There's also one on the front. So keep those gaskets inside the frame, and then when you put the pipe on, there's also a little piece, a little metal piece that's inside. Keep that on there too. And then we're going to slide this pipe on. I talked to the guys at IXIL USA, and they did say you wanted to put some sort of a high temperature sealant on. I'm going to stick it on the inside of this area, right in around, make a bead around there so that when I slide it back on the pipe, it should seal up well. I bought some Permatex Ultra Copper at AutoZone, and I'm hoping that does the trick. Okay, so we are going to want to put the clamp on first, obviously, onto the cat pipe. You can put the bolt up or down or however you want. Just play with it until you figure out how you want it to look. I'm going to make it so that I'm tightening the bolt on the bottom. It's a 10mm bolt, by the way. So I'm sliding the clamp on, and we'll leave it on there until we're ready to tighten. And next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Ultra Copper Permatex Advanced Formula Maximum Temperature Gasket Maker. I'm going to put a bead right around here and here and here, so when I slide it on, it should hope to make it airtight. The only question I had was, where do I put the bead, where these little holes are? So I'm just going to stick some in here. So wish me luck here. I'm going to put this, apply a bead of this gasket maker. It says it takes 24 hours to cure, so unfortunately I'm not going to get to listen to the pipe till tomorrow, but this is kind of hard to do, so I'm going to take it off out of the camera's view here. Okay, so that was kind of a pain in the ass putting that stuff on, but hopefully you can see how I put a thin bead of the Permatex around the area that will slide onto the cat pipe. And where there were these gaps, I just put the bead up at the top so that when it meets the clamp or meets the metal, then it will slide on okay. So let's give it a try sliding it on and see how it works. Line it up here so when I slide it on, I'm just going to push and hopefully that sealer will just go all the way to the back, and it looks like it is. That's good, 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 good. So hopefully that's enough. You said just a bead. So that's a bead. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this bolt on first. You got your bolt here, and then there's a fancy looking washer to make it look better. So just slide the bolt through the washer, and then you're going to slide the washer through the pipe, the can, into the hole and out the back end. Okay. I will tell you one thing here though, is that the bolt they provide you is a little bit too long for my taste. So I think I'm going to cut it off with a Dremel, because otherwise you're going to see this much bolt sticking out from the back if you look at it, and I don't think that looks cool. So I'm going to use the black washer that came with the old one, and then I'm going to use the nut that they sent. So on the back side it's going to look like this, okay? But like I said, I'm going to cut off about a ½ an inch or so of this bolt to make it look better. So I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I've cut about a ½ an inch off of this bolt, maybe a little bit less. You can look at it yourself. And so now I'm going to take the bolt and put it through the funky looking washer that they have. This bolt is going to be a 6mm bolt, so grab your 6mm wrench, and then you're going to put it through using the old rubber gaskets that I talked about and the metal insert on the front side behind this metal piece from the pipe. I'm using the washer that they provided, the old black washer here. I'm going to put that on the back side, and then I'm going to use the nut that they provided also. It's got the knurling on the back, and that is let me see here. That's 13mm. It's a 13mm nut on the back side. So we'll go ahead and get this started on the back. Meanwhile, that Permatex is hopefully starting to set, and then we'll get the clamp down after we get this bolt tightened, okay? And then we'll add that black piece and it'll be good to go. As you know, sometimes when you cut off a bolt, it makes it hard to thread, but I got it going here, so we're good. So we got the 6mm hex on the front and the 13mm on the back side. And I'm going to go ahead and have to get a regular wrench for the back side. Okay, we got a 13mm wrench for the back. in the unfinished hole there, and then the top bolt, we're just going to use the existing bolt and put it through this top hole right here. Okay, so let me take out that top bolt and then we'll go from there. Okay, next we're going to position the clamp over the end of the new pipe. And we're going to see wherever you want to put it. You can slide it this way, you can do it that way. It's up to you how you want it to be seen on the bike. I'm going to kind of tilt it so that the only way you really see the bolt and the bolt and nut part of the clamp is if you're behind the bike. If you're looking at it from the side or the front, you probably won't see it the way I've got it here. It's kind of tilted at a 10 o'clock, 5 o'clock angle. So then we're going to tighten that up. This is a 10 millimeter bolt on the end of this clamp. So we're going to go ahead and tighten that down here. I apologize for the choppiness of this video. I've never done anything like this before, but I thought that there should be something out there for people to look at if they want to put a IXIL can on a Honda. I know some guy did it with still photos, but I couldn't figure that out. And then I guess you want to go pretty far towards the end of the pipe, because that's where the pipe is going to be more malleable and clamp. The clamp will squeeze it onto the existing cat pipe coming out. So I'm going to try and figure that out with my fingertips. Just like putting any hose clamp or anything else. Just tighten her down. Okay, people are going to say, how tight should you tighten this bolt? Well, I really don't know. So I've always been a get a bigger hammer kind of person. And if I'm clamping it down to try and prevent exhaust gases from coming out, and I'm trying to bend the metal a little bit, I'm going to clamp it down pretty good. I don't want to break anything though. Looks like it's got some good threads on it, so I don't see why we can't just keep cranking it down, but at some point I'm going to say enough is enough. Again, I apologize for my dogs. There's 11 of them crawling around here right now, and they tend to walk off with socket wrenches and things of that sort. All right, I have clamped that sucker down pretty darn good. Can't really see it, but the sealant's coming, Permatex is coming out a little bit, and they say that takes 24 hours to cure. So, knowing me, here's the back side of it. I'll probably crank it down a few more turns, and then we'll go ahead and get that cat cover put on right there. Those two bolts right there, the bottom one, that's going to be using the bolt that they've supplied. It's a hex head. I haven't figured out if it's a 5 or 6 yet, or a 4. And then the one above it, which looks to be some sort of plate that holds a wire harness of some sort. But I'm going to just take it out. I'm going to put that plate probably underneath that, and then I'll let you know how that works out. Okay, there's Harry lying there. He's taking it easy. He's our deaf dachshund with the blue eyes. I did want to point out one thing about that you see online. It talks about there's a gasket inside the old can, the old muffler. The stock muffler, there is a gasket right here, okay? Can't really see it, so I'll shine a flashlight down here. But you see, that's a gasket right there. And on some bikes, it says that you want to take that off and reuse it. But again, on my 2015 CB1000R, I don't need it, and it stayed inside the old muffler. So I just wanted to point out that in my case, I didn't worry about it. And this all sealed up real nice. And every time I stop filming, I crank it down a few more turns, but that's just the way I am. All right, Harry, say hey, bud. Okay, so we're basically finished here. The last thing I did was put that black plate on there, which is just to cover the cat, because the cat's kind of ugly. And if you see how that black piece, which bolts into those two holes I showed you before, one of them was empty, and one of them, the top one, was kind of holding a wire housing up. So I used the pre-existing bolt there, and I used the 5mm hex head bolt for the bottom one that you see there. And basically all that does is just take your eye away from the nasty cat. And you can see it all looks pretty nice. When it's finished, you don't really see the cat. You should see the pipe, the can there, the IXIL. And if you get down low, you can see it. But some people have said they want to paint it with a barbecue paint or something like that. I suppose if you got a lot of time on your hands, go ahead and knock yourself out. I probably won't do it. And the clamp, you can see how I did it with the bolt piece going from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock there, or 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock. If you get on top, you can see what I'm talking about with the... You don't really see the bolt unless you're standing directly behind the bike. If you're on the side of the bike or the front of the bike, you just really see the clamp. And so it looks pretty good. I don't know if I'm going to crank it up yet because the Permatex takes 24 hours to cure, but yeah, my patience is wearing thin, so we may do that here shortly. If not, I'll do it tomorrow and stick it on the end of the video. Say goodnight, Harry. Okay, one other thing that I did say earlier that I was going to put the wire harness plate under this black cover plate, but that didn't work. So I put the black plate that you see here, the cat cover, over the wire harness piece of metal. And you'll figure that out when you take that top bolt out. So it works kind of nice. I did crank it up real quick. I figure if the gases aren't getting hot, I'll listen to it real quick, but you can listen to it. Watch out, Harry. Harry, watch out. Which is about 1,000 times better than that stock muffler they had on there, which sounds like a old man's commuter bike. All right, I'm gonna try and slap all this together. I hope it helps somebody out. Have a great day. Ride safe.